Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Weiss. I'm the founder and the Director General of the Paris Peace Forum, and it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you to Ben Guerir here. This day is a celebration. It's the celebration of cooperation and dialogue. Cooperation and dialogue between UM6P and the Paris Peace Forum, of dialogue and cooperation between France and Morocco, between Africa and Europe, and between North and South. And I'll be your MC for this first segment, for this first session, and it's my pleasure to welcome André Gorilla, the President of the Paris Peace Forum, to this podium.
Mesdames, Messieurs le chef d'État-gouvernement,
Honorable distinguished guests, Prime Minister, heads of government, the representative of the King of Morocco, honorable ambassadors, excellencies, honorable President of OCP, Mr. Hicham El-Habti, the honorable President of the UMCP University, ladies and gentlemen, partners of the forum, very dear friends, very dear students of UMCP. I am absolutely delighted. I'm proud to be here today in Morocco, on the campus of the UMCP University in Ben Guerir, to open the Spring 2024 meeting of the Paris Peace Forum, of which I have been president since last year. For the first time, the spring meeting is being held outside France, in an African country, which for us at the PPF is a great achievement and a practical expression of our values and our commitments towards Africa. This was made possible thanks to the hospitality of UM6P and the modern reception and welcoming facilities of its magnificent Ben Guerir campus. And thanks, of course, to OCP. Mr. Tarab, are you here with us? I think in the room? Yes, there you are. Thank you so very much for welcoming us, OCP. Now, a member of the governance of the Paris Forum and its generous contribution to this meeting. I would like to take this opportunity to express and convey my heartfelt thanks for their support and excellent collaboration. Thank you so very much, wholeheartedly. Thanks also to the Mo Ibrahim Foundation. Nous avons
him here.
dans la salle. Also a partner of this event and a member of the forum's governance for its loyal and continuous support for our actions. Thanks for all these efforts. We have brought together more than 300 high-level guests, and we have a great program of discussions. But being here in a university setting to talk about a fair transitions in front of all of you, and especially in front of young students, newer generations, also takes on its full meaning, because when we talk about transition, And we're talking about the future.
En parlant de justice,
By talking
nous
about
parlons
justice,
d'avenir
we are
souhaitable,
talking about a desirable,
équitable
equitable,
et inclusif
and inclusive
pour cette jeunesse.
future for these young
Nous avons
people
choisi
and future
ce thème
generations.
car ces dernières années, les
We
conséquences
chose this
du
topic
changement
because
climatique,
in
du
recent
Covid,
years, the
de la
consequences
guerre de
of climate
la Russie
change,
contre l'Ukraine,
COVID,
la crise au
Russia's
Moyen-Orient,
war against Ukraine,
sont combinés
the
dans
Middle
une crise
East war
socio-économique
have combined in a
complexe
complex
qui a touché les
socio-economic
pays les plus
crisis
vulnérables,
that has hardly hit the most
exacerbé les lignes de
vulnerable
fracture
countries and
entre les
exacerbated
pays riches
the fault
et les pays
lines
pauvres.
on the divide between rich
Et
and poor
2020,
countries. Since 2020,
le forum de Paris sur
the
la
Paris
paix
Peace Forum
s'est
on
efforcé
has sought
favoriser
to
la
foster
coopération
cooperation
et de combler
and
le
bridge
fossé
the north-south divide
nord-sud. Grâce à son événement
through
annuel,
its annual events.
novembre,
It's
à son
in
soutien
November, its
à des
support
projets de
for
gouvernance
innovative
innovantes
governance projects
et à ses
and its
initiatives politiques.
multi-staker
Multi-acteurs
and multi-stakeholder policy
nombreux
initiatives in many
domaines.
fields.
En 2021,
In 2021,
notre événement a cherché
Our
à réduire
flagship
la fracture
event
nord-sud
sought to reduce the
post-Covid.
post-COVID
On
north-south
l'appelait
divide,
Mind the Gap.
and we called it Mind the Gap.
En 2022,
In
à trouver des
2022,
solutions à la
to find
multicrise
solutions to the multi-crisis
avec la crise climatique,
with the climate crisis and the terrible effects of the war in Ukraine
sur la sécurité
on
alimentaire,
food
vous
security.
rappelez de l'inflation que ça
You'll probably
a
remember
produit partout.
the rise in inflation
prix de l'énergie,
everywhere in the world, the
la
energy
dette,
prices,
on
and
l'appelait
debt
riding out
that was
the
called
multi-crisis.
riding out the multi-crisis.
En 2023,
In
à
2023,
trouver des terrains
to find
d'entente,
common ground,
sud
north, south,
et est,
and
ouest
east,
aussi,
west,
pour protéger
to
la
protect
gouvernance mondiale
global
de la
governance from
fracture géopolitique.
geopolitical
Et on l'appelait
divides.
Seeking
And
common
this was
ground
called seeking
in a world
common
of
ground
rivalry.
in a world of rivalry.
Parce que il y avait la rivalité
Because let's face it, there was
qui
rivalry
s'exprimait
that was growing on a daily basis.
aussi en 2023.
And last year,
Le
in
forum,
2023,
a beaucoup
the
contribué
forum
au
has
sommet
made a
sur le
major
nouveau
contribution
pacte
to the
financier
summit on the
mondial
new global financial
tenu à
pact
Paris,
held in Paris
juin
in June
23-24.
2023
À la fois sur le fond
and
et
23-24,
aussi
both in terms
la question de
of
l'organisation.
content and organization.
Comment organiser le monde
In other words, how to organize the
meilleure
world
manière.
in a better way.
Ce sommet avait
The
pour
aim
but
of the summit
de soutenir
was to
les pays
support
plus pauvres
the poorest countries
face à la pauvreté,
in the face
le
of the
Covid,
multiple
la
crises
transition climatique,
of poverty,
et aussi
COVID,
les conséquences
climate change, and also,
j'appelais avant,
as I said
de la guerre
earlier
en
on,
Ukraine, sur la sécurité
the consequences of the
alimentaire,
war in Ukraine on food
le prix de
security,
l'énergie,
energy prices,
dette,
debt,
la dette,
debt,
mobiliser le financement,
also to mobilize
et avancer
funding
la réforme
and to
de
move
l'architecture
forward
financière.
with the reform of the international financial architecture.
Le forum a pu amener
The
de
forum,
nombreux
therefore,
acteurs
was able to bring together many players from these
pour
countries
contribuer
in
au
Paris
consensus
to
sur le
contribute
pacte
to the
de
consensus
Paris sur les peuples
on the Paris
et la
Pact
planète.
on people and planet.
Et dans le 7 octobre,
On the 7th of October,
l'attaque de Hamas
we had
contre
the
Israël
Hamas attack on Israel,
et la réponse d'Israël
and the response
qui
of
déjà
Israel
nous laisse
that has
presque
left us
40 000 morts.
with over 40,000 deaths. For the PPF 7th edition on the 11th of November 2024, we will be looking for a world order that works for everyone, taking into account the reform expectations of the summit on the future of the United Nations, also of the forthcoming G20 summit in Brazil, and COP29. And today, through our very rich discussions at Ben Guerir, we will also explore ways of achieving a green energy transition that meets the needs of developing countries and make sure that it is linked to the poverty reduction imperatives. We will look for solutions to make agriculture and agri-food systems more resilient and to adapt production for both climate change and global demographic needs. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fully aware that Morocco is already or has already stepped into its 6th year of drought and all the impacts and consequences that this has had already in Morocco. So we will also analyze the lessons of the distribution of vaccine, or rather the bad lessons or bad learnings that we have been left with the bad distribution of vaccines against COVID vaccines and the difficult negotiations of the treaty on pandemics. Of course, that today is being held the World Health Assembly, but we have not managed to achieve or to reach a treaty, but we're trying very hard because a great progress was made with the agreement, with the big treaty, and naturally we need to continue and continue impulsing it and bringing it to another higher level. And of course, we will push for the idea of fair distribution of benefits. So all these themes are ones that our fantastic PPF team is working on. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all those who have been working tirelessly for years. And we are also launching initiatives on the fight against global warming. And I'd like to focus and insist again that is the intergenerational responsibility, I would say the most important intergenerational responsibility for all of us. It is a paramount responsibility for future generations. We have also launched initiatives on sustainable agriculture, nutrition, responsible governance of critical minerals, and naturally, and I'd like to insist here, fighting against pandemics. We need to be better organized and better prepared for the next pandemics, and there will be a next pandemics, and we are pretty sure of that. In our community, we have 515 projects. Many of them include excellent innovations, some of which are here, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here, for your kind attendance, and I wish you all excellent discussions and a fruitful meeting. Thank you very much.
Vous savez combien nous sommes reconnaissants à l'UM6P de nous accueillir.
You know how grateful we are to UM6P to host us and welcome us in these outstanding and fantastic facilities. I'd like to welcome now Michel Habti, the president of the university, whom over the months and weeks he has become a very dear friend. But before that, let's watch this beautiful video on UM6P.
What we should be asking ourselves is what really is happening in Africa. And I think that it is remarkable in terms of a rising Africa and a new Africa and a lot of the different conversations that I've had. And I've just come from King Mohammed VI Polytechnic University, which I think was, to put it in vernacular, blew my mind away. It was just really fantastic.
Cette université n'est pas d'un type standard. Elle a quelque chose d'autre et de nouveau. Elle a quelque chose de fondamentalement nouveau dans la relation entre les enseignants et les enseignés.
I have visited so many universities in the United States, in Europe, everywhere else. But this is the first university that I would see where you actually have a different way of learning. World-class infrastructure, world-class faculty, the ability to learn in an open platform.
I must say, this is an extraordinary campus. The spirit of innovation, the dedication of the faculty, the desire to have an impact, not just here in Morocco, but regionally and all around the world.
Few words are resonating in my mind. One of them is excellence. The second one is Pan-Africanism. I heard everywhere, from every student, the word Africa. I heard actually most the word Africa than I've heard the word Morocco, which is quite impressive. The other one is thinking about not only the job of today, but the job of tomorrow.
Je pense qu'avoir l'occasion d'étudier à une université comme celle-ci, c'est une occasion incroyable de travailler ensemble avec des gens qui viennent de plusieurs pays, mais aussi d'ouvrir son esprit et son viseur sur le reste du monde. Donc je vous souhaite tous bonne chance, continuez avec vos questions critiques et avoir cette ambition d'améliorer le monde et de soi-même jouer un rôle dans cette amélioration du monde.
Excellencies, distinguished ministers, leaders of international organizations, private sector executives, esteemed researchers and experts, honored guests. I would like to begin by extending a warm welcome and expressing our deep gratitude to Mr. Angel Gurria, President of the Paris Peace Forum. Your insightful words and visionary leadership have been pivotal in guiding the forum's mission. We are privileged to collaborate with you in our shared pursuit of a sustainable future. It is a great honor for me to welcome you today to University Mohammed VI Polytechnic for the spring meeting of the Paris Peace Forum. This event holds special significance for our institutions as it embodies our commitment to promoting sustainable development through concrete initiatives and global partnerships. The spring meeting, for the first time, is being held on the African continent, gathering diverse actors from around the world to focus on the shared North-South objective of fair transitions. As a matter of fact, last April, our university had the privilege of becoming a member of the governance bodies of the Paris Peace Forum. This membership marks a significant milestone for UM6P, reflecting our dedication to actively contributing to global discussions and actions for global justice. We are determined to play a leading role in this forum by bringing our expertise and unique perspectives from our experiences in Africa. I'm proud to announce that UM6P is a signatory of the call on food security launched by the Paris Peace Forum, underscoring our commitment to a crucial issue that deeply affects our African continent, where millions rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. As a university dedicated to innovation and applied research, we are devoted to developing sustainable and inclusive solutions to tackle this vital challenge. In line with this commitment, today's meeting will include the launch session of the Agricultural Transitions Lab for African Solutions, Atlas. This initiative is a direct result of our pledge to address food security and symbolizes our dedication to agricultural transitions in Africa. The name Atlas not only reflects our mission, but also pays homage to the resilient Atlas mountain range in Morocco, embodying strength and determination. The theme of this meeting, fair transition, is particularly relevant in the current context. We all know that we need to transit to another world if we are to survive as a species. We always think of transition as positive, but in fact, there can be negative transitions which leave out a part of humanity, resulting in a more violent and warlike world. That's why it's not incompatible to discuss the transitions humanity is facing in a peace forum. We need transitions that are peaceful, that engender more peace, that are satisfying and not frustrating for all parts of humanity. Transitions cannot be conceived analytically, sector by sector, but constitute a systemic commitment on the part of humanity, so to speak. The mineral extraction transition is inseparable from the energy transition, which is inseparable from the climate transition, which is inseparable from the agricultural transition, which is inseparable from the health transition, which is inseparable from the financial economic transition. Here at UM6P, we believe in sustainable and inclusive growth. And more than inclusive, we believe in participative growth, in the immersion of sustainable industry based on clean technologies. This is what researchers at UM6P are enthusiastically working towards. United, we can shape a future that is fairer, safer, and more prosperous for all. Thank you for your attention, and welcome to Benguerir.
Yesterday at the welcome cocktail, I mentioned the fact that this is not a mere conference. Of course, dialogue is important. Of course, talking to each other is important. Acting with each other is really important. Hicham mentioned one of the 3 initiatives that will be launched today, the Atlas Initiative on African Agriculture. There will also be the launch of the Global Council for Responsible Transition Minerals, as well as the launch of an expert group for preparing the Nutrition for Growth Summit of March 2025. So it's not just about discussing, exchanging views and ideas, it's also about action and acting. And you know that the philosophy of the forum has always been one of multi-actor. We are, of course, encouraging multilateralism, which is the fact that states, that governments work together. But more than that, we're encouraging polylateralism, as Pascal Lamy would say. He's here somewhere in the room, and he's been the heralder of that notion. That is to say, we need more than governments to act. And Atlas is a good example of this. It started really as a multi-actor initiative. This said, states remain at the center of the game in the international system. And so I'm very glad to now give the floor to Ambassador Christophe Lecourtier, the French ambassador to Morocco, who will say a few words in the name of France, but also in support of the Atlas initiative. Christophe.
Just a few words, I promise. Mesdames et messieurs les ministres,
ladies and gentlemen, ministers, Mr. President of the OCP, dear President of the UM6P University, dear colleagues, I always come back here to UM6 University with joy. I'm very happy to be part of that spring session of the Paris Peace Forum on that big campus. As it was said by Justin and by Mr. Lapti, the President, it is showing that how it is important in terms of the relations between France and Morocco and Africa, that these relations must be developed even further.
This is the reason why, for the last 2 years, a series of very good projects have been growing, and amongst them, and it has repeated by President Gurria and all those who took the floor before me, the development of African agriculture is a top priority because that will actually be one of the conditions for the development of agriculture globally. So the forum, the Paris Peace Forum last November, has started with key leaders represented here in this room, and UM6P and OCP have launched a big appeal and a big call to actually set up this very important flagship agricultural project, African agricultural project. So by way of preparation of the next bilateral agenda between France and Morocco, I'm very happy to announce that France will be proposing to its Moroccan partners to work very actively to extend this coalition that is already quite big but deserves to be further extended to international banks, philanthropic members, in order to make sure that this peace initiative that was presented in Paris last November becomes a real reference to allow the African agricultural development project to have a great meaning and great fruitful cooperation. Thank you very much for your attention and wish you fruitful discussions during this meeting.
So now the introduction is over. You can see on your program that we are starting a little bit late, but not so late. Here on stage A,
the question of North-South cooperation. On stage B, the Youth Assembly of the Climate Overshoot Commission. And then in room 1, that's a round table. It's not a regular session. The meeting on agriculture and nutrition. So pick your room. You can stay here or go to either stage B or room 1. Room 2 is by invitation only. And please have a fruitful day. Thank you.